Today, I'm joined by Laura Courtney, who is HR boss lady for Miles and Bar, who are a Kent and Medway estate agency chain with 12 branches and employing over 200 people. Thanks for joining me today, Laura.
Thank you.
Laura, what does a great HR department look like in an estate agency chain? Talk to me.
I think ultimately for HR, it's being part of that board of directors. So traditionally, if people think about HR, they think about a department that's sort of got forms and processes and potentially sort of lots of red tape.
Yeah, that's what the traditional HR department. I mean, I've always thought as an HR department as there as protecting the backsides of the bosses.
Yeah.
Red tape, filling forms in. Awful.
Yeah, no, you'd be forgiven for thinking that. I think a lot of people probably got the same opinion. But for me, to be a really successful HR department, firstly, I didn't want the word HR for my team. When we set that up within our business, we stuck to people operations just to really soften the opinion that people had of our team, and also in my opinion, to be really successful, you're sitting alongside the board of directors, the people that really lead in that business and being part of those decisions.
Why do you think the directors of Miles and Bar decided they wanted to set up this people department or HR department? I'm surprised they didn't have one before.
I actually joined Miles and Bar in a different capacity. So I've had a HR background, learning and development background, and took a change of career. Ended up at Miles and Bar for a friend, I actually proposed that we set up that department because I went in and saw that there was a need. Their business that have grown organically. They had over 200 staff at the time, and there wasn't a department specifically devoted to managing and looking after the people within the business.
But surely that's the job of the area managers, isn't it?
No, I think it's slightly different. I think an area manager in general is there to manage performance and manage people. A people department within a business like we've got at Miles and Bar is really there to make sure there's transparent processes, policies in place, and really there to make sure that the people are at the heart of some of the real key business decisions which an area manager or a group of directors could, without someone there sort of championing the people, overlook the impact on decisions on some people that are within their business, who are ultimately sort of the most expensive asset, I believe, within the business.
They are. Your staff and colleagues are the most expensive. So when did this people department get set up at Miles and Bar then?
So I joined the business in 2017. I went in to support an ex-colleague running the financial services side of the business. And it was shortly after that I put a proposal to the group of directors at the time, just to say, look, I've got this background. I really feel like I can add more value to your business with the experience that I've got within learning, development and people practices. So I was kind of standalone really from about 2018. I was on my own, starting to pull the people strategy and plans together. And then it was around 2019 that I had my first recruit into our people ops department, and we've just grown from there. We're now a department of around eight staff.
Okay, so how do you square the fact that what you might want to do fits in with the strategy of the business, which is basically selling houses?
Yeah, absolutely. So
and renting them out and doing the
financial
FS
services as well. I think what I did in those first few months where I wasn't running that team, I quickly understood what the business was about. I really got a feel for what the directors at the time were passionate about, and I knew that I could add value to the business by bringing together a people department. What I needed to do is talk their language. So a commercial group of guys, estate agents, and I needed to evidence that by focusing on the people and really understanding performance management processes, building leadership capability, would absolutely have a commercial benefit to their business.
And what commercial benefit has your people department brought to Miles and Bar?
So what I've managed to show is that by focusing on the people and having good practices in place and really building our leadership capability, that we can have a more efficient workforce. So I'm not necessarily bringing in income into the business. What I can do it's really helped to manage costs, particularly people costs. So I'm retaining staff within the business now.
You said more efficient. Now, the standard in a state agency, if memory serves me well, is that most estate agents, especially the larger chains, if you don't mind me saying, your 12 branch operation, will expect to lose probably about a third of their staff each year, which costs time, money, pain in the backside, everything. What have you been able to do with implementing these, your HR strategies, sorry, people strategies? Where are you now?
So when we first set the team up, we were over 40%.
Bloody hell.
And we've reduced that year on year down to 12% now.
So you're saving money on recruitment. Let's be honest, it's a right pain in the backside trying to find the right person.
Yeah.
What about your colleagues? Are they happier?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's easy to say. How do you prove that?
So what we did when I first set one of the first things I did in order to put our strategy together was to run an engagement survey across our whole business. That was a challenge in itself. The board of directors that, as I said already, they've grown with the business and very much we know our staff, we know what they're thinking. But I was keen to show you give someone a voice and you can anonymise that as well, and people tell you really what they're thinking about your business. So
was the results what they thought, and what this is when you obviously started, was the reality versus what they thought completely different?
Yeah, on the whole, we were an engaged business. We were around 79% engagement, which is still really high. And businesses I've worked for in the past, that's still, that's a number you would want to get.
Is that 79% of people return the survey? With the survey?
We have over 90% actually do the survey.
But engaged as in they felt engaged in the business?
Yes.
That's pretty good for a estate agency.
Really good. And we've got that over 90% now.
Lovely.
So we run that survey twice annually. And the results of that survey is then what's
completely anonymous. It's not one of these magic codes that it's Barbara from Hurt Bay.
No, absolutely not. And people are really
She's
suspicious.
She's a bright bugger as well, isn't she?
I know, they're really suspicious about it. But I was, determined to use an external company. We use WorkBuzz. For that reason, I just wanted people to tell us really how it is, and then based on that, it wasn't about my gut feeling anymore. I could see there was things we could do better, but our staff were telling us that themselves.
What if you had to almost distill it down to one or 2 points? What were the big issues that you were able to find out, which meant you could solve them? Because that a retention rate of 88% is amazing in a estate agency. What did you learn?
Yeah, so there's a couple of key sort of areas that we definitely need to focus on. One was reward and recognition, which in my experience, that generally always comes up with an engagement survey, so that wasn't anything surprising. Wellbeing was another area that we really needed to focus on, and the third was really around leadership.
Recognition, reward, that's not necessarily paying people more money.
No, not at all. It was about people feeling valued and understanding that they had opportunities to further their career.
So you basically told the area directors and area managers, this is what you need to do with your team, and they implemented that?
Yeah, effectively. I mean, I'm really lucky with the board of directors that I've got. I mean, Mark Brooks in particular was absolutely championing what we were trying to do as a people team. But ultimately, what I was able to do is show the benefit to the business of really implementing some of these plans and using experience and bits I've done in the past, show how we could implement that within our business. And one of the first things we did was create a vision, which hadn't been there before. So I was able to ask the difficult questions of the directors, what is your vision? Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourselves? And really, do people know that? And my gut feeling at the time was they didn't. So I really sort of worked with the directors to get that vision out there. And based on that, we put together a set of values for our business, a set of behaviours, and that really was the foundation of then our plans that we've implemented over the last few years.
So by putting that vision and values together, do you feel it created a better culture, which meant it led to better leadership, which was the third one of the points that was brought up?
Yes. However, within there, what I wanted to bring about was more transparency and consistency across all of our offices. So what I quickly identified was, depending on what office you worked in, you would have a different experience within our business. And our engagement survey also showed that. So part of the leadership element was really to get some performance management processes in place. We introduced performance cycles within our business, which hadn't been done before.
Did that wind up the branch managers, that some were being picked on more than others?
It wasn't about picking on anybody, it was more giving them the skills and capability to be leaders. And really, for my big light bulb moment was for them to realise that you can be a great manager, that potentially you were a manager, within our business because you've been a great estate agent. What I needed to get across to them was job number one is motivating and developing your people. And for a lot of our managers, they won't mind me saying, they were amazing valuers, amazing estate agents. What we hadn't given them was the skills, the knowledge, the capability to manage people effectively.
It's a big one in estate agency that, you know, just because you're an awesome valuer doesn't make you an awesome branch manager, and you've got to lead people.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to, final thoughts on this, what would your advice be to anyone who doesn't necessarily work for an awesome firm like Miles and Barr on how to gain those leadership skills?
I think there's a lot of sort of tools and resources out there that can support people that want to develop their leadership skills. And for me, it is, as I said already, the first thing is having that understanding and recognition that you need to be able to develop and grow those skills to be a great leader, which in turn will really develop and bring your people to maximise their potential.
Thank you for your time today, Laura. This is one of 7 videos that we're doing in this series with the Agents Together project. I hope you will watch the other videos, which will be held on our YouTube channel. Thank you for your time today, Laura.
Thank you.